In 2018, one time I was having dinner with my boyfriend, and I told him, hey, we've been in a relationship. How about us moving in together? Looking for a house was not easy. We were looking for a house where they were pet friendly, and it took us about 2-3 months to find a place. We started about November of 2018. We wanted an area that was very safe. So finally, after the holidays, we found the place. We came to see it. We set up an appointment with the owner. We submitted our application, and a few weeks later, we got notice that we got approved. The ladies sounded very delighted since we had good credit, we had good jobs, and I was working as a teacher for a company. And at the end of the year, I decided to change my lifestyle, and I wanted to start working at night and sleeping in the morning. So I resigned my job, and I wanted to do something different. I started getting to know the area where I lived. A lot of friendly people around me. I got comfortable after, I want to say, 2-3 months. It was a very safe area. It started happening around, I want to say, September of 2019, at the end of the year, because that's when I started working at night. There's times when I wake up and I started walking my dog around the corner. I started from about 1 mile and I extended it to 2 miles because I saw people walking their dogs. So I said, I'm gonna make this walk a little bit longer. And I started noticing in the corner, this lady, she would always wave to me. I started noticing her waving at me when I would go to work at 2-3 in the morning or walking my dog. One time I was walking my dog, my brown dog, Gajo, and I noticed when we would walk, he would always have his tail wagging when he takes for walks. He gets very excited. He loves shaking his tail when he's ready for a walk. For some odd reason, every time we hit a certain corner, he'd go down his ears and his tail will go like he didn't want to walk no more. And I looked up and there was the lady that was waving at me. She would always wave from the opposite side of the side street. So if I was on the right, she'd be on the left. If I was walking my dog on the left, she'd be on the right. And I started noticing that she would just wave. So I noticed that she had a cane because the way she was walking with it, it seemed like it's of somewhat of a person that can potentially be blind. I don't want to speculate, but I think she was a blind person. So she would wave and I would wave back. But I started noticing something strange. She would wave at me in opposite houses. So I tell myself, why is she always in different houses? How come she's never in one house? Why is she roaming around at 2, 3, 4 in the morning? Where are her kids? Where are her family members? Why is she roaming around so late? I think when I will pass by, she will just hear me and she'd wave. But I can never really see her face. Her eyes were always looking down. It was always like a pajama type. Her face was always covered. And if she was going to sleep, and she was always wearing like a long robe. It started being like that from 2019 to early 2020. Same thing. I'd go to work. She'd wave at me. I'd wave at her back. When I would come out of work, I'd be home around 7, 8 in the morning, and I see her with the same clothes. Who is she? I did a different approach the next few years, and I started walking around to see where she would live in the daytime, because I was very intrigued with her that she was one of the friendliest neighbors. because some neighbors say hi, some neighbors don't say, but she made me feel comfortable that at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, me getting out of work or walking my dog, I can feel comfortable. But I started noticing a pattern of why is it that when I walk my dog in her, before I go to see her or she waves, he gets very scared. He makes like a moaning, like a cry noise, his tail goes down, and he doesn't want to continue his walk. When we passed that area, I would see her in different houses again. I started getting very curious on why she was always in different areas. I'm like, I don't want something to happen to her. These neighbors can get upset that she's passing private property. But for some reason, the houses that she was always in were always gated. But I can see her from the gate from far away. She never was in an area that didn't have a gate. For some reason, she'd always be on a gate area. So when I tried to move forward with her to say she wasn't there anymore, I looked down, she waved at me, and I said, let's go, Gaja, let's go walk. When I tried to approach her, she wasn't there. I'm like, I don't understand how a lady that's older can move that fast. This has been happening for about, I want to say 3 years. One time I was walking and this kind of tripped me out because she started doing in 2022, she started doing something different. It looked like she was on the air. That's when I really freaked out, and she looked like she was flying. And my dog will get scared. He will not feel comfortable. And my walks at night were not the same anymore. Who is this lady? Why is she playing a prank on me? Who is this? It was around September or October of 2022, just recently, where I said, somebody's playing a prank on me, because how is this person going from the floor to flying? Is she getting on a moving chair or something? I started getting scared. I didn't feel safe walking my dog anymore, and for a couple times I didn't even want to go to work at night anymore. I was walking my dog in the daytime, and I told one of my neighbors, hey, can I ask you a question? She said, yeah, go ahead. Are you familiar with this area where I live? I've been here about 3 years. She said, yeah, I've been here about 20 years. I'm like, she's like, you're the one that walks your dog at night sometimes. Yeah, I'm like, I'm a very friendly person. I like to wave at my neighbors just to be on the safe side. I'm like, where's this lady that she usually comes out at night and she's blind and she has a cane and she's always looking down. She waves at me at night, but I've noticed that she's always in different houses. Who is she? I'm curious to know who she is, because I don't know why she's out at night, or I don't know if somebody's trying to play a prank. She asked me, why do you say that? At first I just was, hi, how are you? Who are you? But she will never say anything. But I started tripping out when she started moving. If she was like on a bicycle or something, I don't know, a scooter. I found that very odd. I asked her, is she just a very like athletic person that likes to explore at night, or is that her way of venting at night? And she goes, what, can you tell me where she's at roughly around house? And I said, she's usually in those houses in the corner by the park. And she's like, oh, you've seen her too? Yes, I've seen her too. That's Miss Lupe. Miss Lupe has been dead for about 6 years. I haven't seen her no more. The neighbor said, you're not gonna see Miss Lupe no more. A couple people have seen her around here. I was working as a teacher for about 2-3 years, and when I moved into my own place, I said, hey, why not make some extra money? And a friend of mine said, why don't you since you're a really good driver and you're off on the weekends, why don't you do some Uber? I have heard stories how the customers can be very picky, demanding, or throw up in your car. Then my fear was that they'd leave me a bad start, knowing that I'm just a very friendly person. Why would they want to do that? So that was one of my phobias that I had. So I said, why not? Let me start it. So I started about 2021 and started doing it on the weekends. I was working my side hustle. At this time, I was pretty much self-employed already, but I'm only getting paid once a month. I need something that's gonna pay me at least every week. So I started doing it on the weekends in the morning, and I started liking it. I pick up very friendly people, wanted to write, hi, how are you? Greeted me. Your car is very nice. I like how you're driving. You're a very nice lady. I don't know. I can think because I want to say that I like to talk a lot. So that's why I build up a relationship with the customers / writers. I can tell that some of them don't like to talk. So anyways, I started liking it and I said, hey, I like this. I think one of my friends told me you should do it Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays between 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning when people are getting out of the bars / clubs. That's when right now they're starting to open up the restaurants now of 2021. The pandemic hadn't hit no more. So she goes, you should start picking it up. And the surcharge is very, very high right now around that time. I left my house around 12:31 and I decided to go and proceed around the San Gabriel area, and I had a request for a young gentleman. He had 3 passengers, and at that time nobody can go in the front, and I said, okay, I'm picking up 3 people. Carpool wasn't allowed at the time. I said, okay, let me pick up this gentleman. He's waiting at this restaurant and let them get in. So I get the ride, I go pick up the person, and they're like, hi, how are you? Is this Alba? And they said, and I said, are you the person that's looking for a ride? I gave the person's name. Said, yeah, that's me. It's 2 of us and myself, they said. Okay, one of them, they seemed happy and laughing, and one of them was trying to go in the front, and I said, can you please sit in the back? You can't come in the front due to COVID restrictions. And he ignored me. So I was like, okay, fine. He ignored me, and then he decided to sit there, and then I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. As I started driving, I noticed that the person in the front wasn't there no more. I said, oh, I must have blindsided when he went to the back. So I said, okay, then he decided to just go to the back after all. So the 3 guys we were driving. They're like, okay, we're ready to go home. Our ride is about 30 minutes away. Can you drop us off at this location? We're gonna go have Denny's and this by our house. And I said, fine, yeah. And we were listening to music, driving. They were laughing. They were having conversation. Then as the 3 of them were driving, I told them, can you put your seatbelt on, sir? I asked nicely for safety reasons. And they just ignored me. And I said, okay, maybe they're not hearing me. And I turned around and I told one of the passengers, sorry, sir, I would really like if you can just put your seatbelt. Like, what are you talking about, Miss Alba? I have my seatbelt on. I'm like, okay. I'm just tripping. I kept driving and I kept looking at the rear mirror. I kept looking in the front, and I said, how come somebody's in the back? My car's where it's a hash car where you can flip. And then if you look through the trunk, you can see the window. It's hard to explain, but I kept driving and I told the guy, why are you in the back? Can you please come to the front? You shouldn't be in the back driving like that. What are you talking about? One of the passengers said, it's only 3 of us. I said, you know what? I'm just going to drop you off. I don't want to have any trouble. It's 3 of you, but you guys are getting loud, and I don't know if you guys are going back and front jumping, but you shouldn't be doing that because for my own safety, I don't feel comfortable you guys doing that. I kept driving. I see the 3 passengers and I see something in the back, somebody waving their hands. I said, this is not, I don't feel safe anymore. I'm gonna pull over and end the ride. What are you talking about, miss? Why are you tripping? You guys are playing with me and it's dark. My car is dark and I can see that One of you keeps jumping back and forth in the back, and I don't think it's funny because this is gonna nonsense. This has to stop. I think you're tripping, Alba. Like, it's only the three of us. And I'm like, no, I don't feel comfortable. I'm gonna end the drive. Either, I don't know how you guys are jumping forward doing this, but it's not funny no more. But it's only three of us. What are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying. Somebody keeps going to the back and jumping, and you guys are playing the game. Did you guys sneak somebody in without telling me? I was blindsided that I noticed that you guys didn't want to pay, probably for a bigger car. Miss, you're really tripping. It's only the three of us. No, it's not. Somebody's in the back, and I'm on the freeway, and I'm gonna have to pull on the next exit because I'm not liking this. Why? I knew that when I told the first guy not to go on the front, that you guys were gonna sneak him in, or I don't know. I am tripping. Like, I that's how I was thinking. I decided to exit the freeway and go on the next stop. And I decided to go in a safe area because I pretty much have three young people yelling at me and getting a little bit hysterical and loud. And they started getting very offensive, like, we're paying for this drive. And I'm like, I swear it felt like that ride took forever, that I couldn't end it. I didn't want them to attack me in the back, because I've heard some stories where the driver gets attacked, and I wanted to be as professional as I can, knowing that this might cause me to either get a bad rating or possibly lose my job, because I was just very stressed out and nervous because somebody was in the back. They will pop up, wave, and then lay back, and then they were all laugh. The guys were laughing while they were telling their story, so I'm saying they want to play a prank on this lady, which is me. They thought that they will get away with not paying for an extra passenger when my car only fits 3 people. I pulled to the side, and they said, I told them, I'm going to end the ride right now. You're gonna have to get another Uber. What are you talking about, miss? It's only 3 of us. I'm like, no, my car is a big car, and I know that you guys have somebody back there all just to not pay an extra person. I cannot have nobody in the back. I'm gonna pull over and check who's in the back. I need all of you to exit the car. We're not gonna exit the car. It's only 3 of us. Who keeps coming from the back and jumping? Miss, it's literally just the 3 of us. One of the guys says, what are you talking about? Are you okay? Are you having a bad day? I'm like, no, I just don't feel safe anymore. You guys have an extra person in the back, and if they keep waving at me, laughing, and you guys keep laughing, so this is not type of joke. And I feel like you guys did this so you wouldn't pay for the 4th person. My car doesn't take 4 people. Once I told them, yes, I know, I keep repeating myself. And then I'm like, we're not gonna exit. Okay, I'm gonna take off my keys. I'm gonna park the car. And I'm like, you guys can stay here. I'm like, we're really gonna, they were upset. They said, we're really gonna leave you a really bad rating because this is very unprofessional of you. And like, we're gonna report it to Uber. And I said, you gotta do what you gotta do, but what you're doing is not right. There's somebody in the back, and I don't feel safe opening the trunk because I don't know anymore. I can see through the glass. So I proceeded little by little, and I went to the back to see who was the one waving, jumping side to side while I was driving, like mocking me, as if they wanted me to get into a car accident while I was driving, that they were blind spotting me. I feel like 2 different things were happening at the same time. I have to focus on driving. I have to focus on these 3 passengers in the back being very loud and obnoxious, but for the sanity of getting them home safe or to the restaurant, I did not want to end the ride until they started playing this game on me. Go ahead, check in the back. I'm like, somebody's in the back and I don't feel comfortable anymore. Tell them to come out because I don't feel safe, or I'm gonna be calling 911. Miss, there's nobody in the back. You're really tripping, miss. It felt like the talk was about forever because I was scared to go and open the trunk. Was I gonna get jumped? Was I gonna get mugged? I've heard these stories of women drivers getting assaulted, and I was really stressing it. Who was this person doing these jokes on me while I was driving when I'm trying just to get these people safe? and they're telling me that nobody's in the back yet. And they're like, go ahead, we're not gonna get off. I got out, walked little by little, parked the car, and I was really stressing it. I hesitated. I'm like, please just tell your friend to come out, and I'll order you guys another Uber, and I'll let them know the situation and explain my story. Finally, I said, I'm doing this. Who's in the back? I go. It was very dark. I didn't even have a light or anything, or a flashlight. I go, knock. Please get out, sir. Or please, ma'am, get out. Whoever is in the back, stop playing games. I knock again. Who's in the back? Okay, you're not telling your friend anymore. I'm not playing with this. I just opened the trunk, ran back. Nobody was in the back. Who was that person all this time?